You've got thousands of tracks, but your prep system still acts like it's stuck in beginner mode. After analysing over 100 DJ libraries, I kept seeing rookie mistakes that look fine on a laptop but break the second you hit the decks. In this video, I'll show you 3 prep systems so your library survives real sets, not just your laptop. I want to introduce you to 2 DJs. They've both got a few thousand tracks and have been DJing for around 4 years. This is DJ Tarquin. He plays deep house and shops at Waitrose. And this is DJ Legend. She plays drum and bass and presumably is some sort of TikTok influencer. So what's the difference between these 2 DJs? On the face of it, you'd expect them to have pretty similar prep. But Tarquin still spends hours tweaking grids. Legend still likes a nice grid. I mean, who doesn't?
Oh yeah.
But they only spend half the amount of time prepping them because they know they can fix any small adjustments on the fly. When I asked viewers of this channel to send me their libraries so I could roast them, I noticed so many of them were still stuck in a Tarquin mindset even when they were really experienced. To fix this, we need to do 2 things. We need to know what's a nice to have and what's a must have. I'm going to give you 10 crisp bucks and this list of prep items. You can spend your crisp bucks however you like on this list. It's all about whatever's most important for you. For example, me having at least 1 hot cue on the drop is essential, so I'm going to spend 4 crisp bucks on that. Grids are useful, but like Legend, I can fix them on the fly if I need to, so I'm going to give that 2 bucks. My tags are the backbone of my whole library system, so they get free. And I'm heavily using colour for track rolls at the moment, so that gets the last 1. Everything else on this list is a nice to have for my prep system. It wasn't until I'd done this myself I realised I was spending way too much time on metadata I never even used. I'm looking at you, album art. Do the nice to haves if you have time, but don't stress about it if you don't. I've made a free worksheet for this that you can grab in the description. It's worth doing this exercise every 6 to 12 months because inevitably your DJing and your prep will grow and change. Now this might be the first time you've ever actually written down what your library system is. For most DJs it's just a weird kind of undefined blob, and that makes it really hard to know which tracks are going to trip you up mid-set. The great thing is now it's actually defined, you can start applying it consistently to your tracks. But once you know the rules, you need a stern head teacher to help you enforce them. The best way to do this is to use an inbox. Not the email kind, an anti-playlist. It's going to act as kind of a prison for the tracks that haven't met your track prep rules. Once you prep them, they'll float off free into the rest of your library. With this in place, you can stop wondering, is my prep finished, and see exactly what you've got left to do. We can use Rekordbox Intelligent Playlist to help us set this system up automatically and flag any tracks with missing metadata. For this simple example, I'm going to assume my tracks always need to have an artist, genre, and title. I'll set up the Intelligent Playlist with rules that find anything that does not have those fields. Make sure to change the rule matching to any rather than all, or it won't work. Here's a track that got flagged because it was missing a genre. As soon as I pop one in, it will no longer show in my inbox playlist. You can even automate this for stuff like my tags, although it's a bit more fiddly to set up. That's because unlike the other metadata items, my tags don't have an empty rule. So you have to set them up all individually, unfortunately. But once it's done, it's done. But there's actually a much easier way to do this. I built a tool called Library Dojo, which will help hunt out tracks which are not meeting your own prep rules in seconds. It's already being used by experienced DJs to level up their library systems with minimal effort, so they can focus less on library management and more on rinsing bangers. You can learn more at librarydojo.com. The link's in the description. Now, in most DJ libraries, 80% of the value comes from 20% of the tracks. These are the ones you play all the time, the glue that sticks your sets together, or the ones that just work great in very specific situations. This 80-20 rule is called the Pareto principle, and you can find it applied in loads of stuff from user research to product development. Now, this isn't to say the other 80% isn't important, but if you focus your prep on the top 20% of tracks, you'll get the best bang for your buck. So how do you spot this top 20% in the first place? Well, I look at 4 signals. This one's the most obvious. Do you actually play it? Super easy to find. In Rekordbox, just enable the DJ play count column and sort by it. Anything with a high play count is something you should really try and get your prep up to scratch on. Now, there's probably some tracks that you may be half prepped but never got back to doing properly. If you bothered to go that far, it's a sign the track at least matters a bit. In my full system, I generally like to have 3 cue points. So a track that's only got 1 on is a pretty good candidate to try and level up. Tracks added to playlists are likely to be tunes you actually use in your sets. But an even better clue is if they're in many playlists. These tracks are likely to be your real workhorses. You can see what playlist a track is in by clicking on it and then clicking the little drop down at the top of the browser in Rekordbox. One downside of this to be aware of is it'll only work for manual playlists, not intelligent playlists.
Or you can just use Library Dojo to find all of them.
Finally, my gold standard is longevity. This is really a combination of 3 different factors: date added, play count, and presence in history playlists. Basically, I'm trying to find those tracks I added ages ago that I still play regularly. That's a pretty good sign that these tracks are very flexible, can be used in all sorts of situations. To find these, set rules to find tracks with play counts above 3 and tracks older than a year as a good starting point. You can then use the same manual check in Rekordbox to see how often those tracks are appearing in your history playlists. Once you've spotted these tracks, you can just drag them into another inbox playlist to sort them out later. But even with all this, there's still one reason prep can ruin your sets before you even get on the decks. One of the biggest problems I hear from DJs is they find it hard to carve out the time to actually sit at their laptop and do prep. They either phone it in or skip it altogether and try and wing it. But it turns out there's a solution staring you right in the face. Well, actually, staring you in the pocket, pervert. I'm talking about the Rekordbox app. You might think this thing's a bit of a toy, but actually you can use it to prep on the go for free. That's right, Alpha Theta is actually giving you some basic functionality without making you pay for it. It works via CloudSync and will link up with your desktop version of Rekordbox, so any prep you do on the phone will appear straight back on your laptop. That means you can turn every boring bus ride into a boring prep session. All you need is CloudSync switched on with Dropbox or Google Drive linked on both the app and your desktop version of Rekordbox. Once that's done, you'll see a special playlist appear. This is where you can drag your tracks to sync between your phone and your laptop. In the app, swipe up on a track and you can drop hot cues, fix the grid, add my tags, or even change the color tag. And as soon as you've got an internet connection, that will sync right back to your laptop. At first, I thought 20 tracks was a bit stingy, but it's actually perfect for bite-sized prep sessions. You can easily bash through 20 tracks in the time it takes you to make a coffee or do a poo. And that helps you avoid that last-minute crunch and panic before a set. But most DJs still spend hours prepping tracks they'll never even play. In this video, I'll show you how to trim the fat without deleting a single track, so you can just focus on the music that actually matters. Now all together say, "F*** you, Tarquin."